Hi, my name is Stephen Fielder, and I'm an assistant principal at Grandview High School. For my final application assignment, my proposed solution, I decided to look at the issue of student attendance at Grandview High School. Our school is a suburban school with very much an urban student population. We have issues with student attendance that are affecting our academics here at the school. In order to gather data about the school in terms of attendance, I decided to go to the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education website. And as you can see, they have a tab called School Data. And on that tab, you can go to the MCDS portal, which basically is the state's data warehouse for all schools and school districts. On the MCDS portal, you can find a tab called District Info. And when you click on that, it gets you to a lot of information, including attendance rate. And so I'm going to click Building under Attendance Rate. It starts with the first school district alphabetically in the state, but you can go down and find your school district. So ours is the Grandview C4 School District. Once I click on that, it gives me the ability to pick a school within the school district. So I'm going to pick Grandview Senior High School. And then I'm going to pick all of the years possible for this search, and then I'm going to hit the View Report button. And that provides me with the most recent information that the state has on student attendance. And this is the ADA rate, basically the percentage of students in school. And as you can see, Grandview Senior High School has fallen below the state average every year during this period from 2005 to 2014. It's had ups and downs, but it's never achieved that average rate. And ultimately, Grandview High School does not want to be average. The next place that I went to for information on attendance at Grandview High School was the Grandview High School School Improvement Plan. And on the 7th page of this document, you will find a table that lists the MSIP-5 GHS proportional attendance rate and ethnic background. And basically what that means is the state of Missouri has decided to look at student attendance from a different point of view. They are concerned about every student's attendance, so they want school districts to have 90% of their students attending 90% of the time. And with this sort of a rate, as you can see over the last 3 years, Grandview High School has never hit that 90% rate that the state is looking for. They've gone from 85.5% to 88.3% and then back down to 86%. And as you can see with some of the ethnicities, it's kind of some interesting trends, with white students being some of the students with the least or the lowest attendance, I should say. Now, why is student attendance important? Well, for academics, it is very important. So one of the places that I wanted to go to find information about this was the Walden Library Home. So I went to the Walden page and clicked on Library, and then went into the Articles by Topic tab. I went to Education, and then went to the ERIC database to start with to find articles related to how attendance can affect student achievement. From the Walden Library, I was able to find an article from the Center for Evaluation and Education Policy that related to this topic, and on page 2 it discusses how attendance impacts student achievement. And in this section, as you can see, it says this: not only is attendance linked with achievement during a specific school year, but it also appears to influence latter academic performance. This is very important to Grandview High School because we realize that the impact is not just short-term, it's long-term, and so we need to improve it. To start my search for ideas of how to improve student attendance, I decided to go to the internet and went to the YouTube website to see what kinds of ideas I could get from there. Ultimately, my goal was then to go back to the academic journals and find articles or studies that would basically support the ideas through research. But this was a place to start, so I began by looking up student absenteeism on YouTube. Found some pretty interesting videos, including this one up here at the top of this search called Teens Investigate Possible Solutions for Chronic Absenteeism. I followed that up by going to a website called Attendance Works, which is all about strategies for fixing issues related to chronic absence. And down towards the bottom of the page, they have a What Can I Do tab, which gives ideas for all kinds of different groups of people, including parents, schools, after-school programs, healthcare providers, policymakers, and even funders, those people, foundations and otherwise, that have monies that they can put into the issue. Another website that I found was called the psychologicalscience.org website, which is basically the American Psychological Society's website. And they had many different articles that kind of tackled the issue of student attendance from the psychology standpoint. One was this one called Encouraging Student Attendance, and it gave lots of different ways to encourage student attendance through curriculum and activities that students are or that teachers are using in the classroom to keep their students engaged. Another website that I found was the National Center for School Engagement, which had interesting articles about dropout prevention and how to reduce truancy and lots of other issues that are related to student attendance that are very important to us as a school. Well, this brings me to the actual writing of my paper and the issue of what's my solution going to be. I determined that I would come up with a three-tiered solution to tackle the issue of student attendance at Grandview High School. In order to do this, I looked at students in four major categories: those students who were above the 90% attendance rate, students between 80 and 89%, those between 60 and 74%, and those who are below the 59% category. Ultimately, we found that these students each needed a slightly different strategy in order to get them to increase their attendance. Students in the first category really did not need any special intervention at this time. Students who fell into the second category, we were going to give them a teacher mentor to help build a relationship which would lend itself to school connectedness, which is a huge issue for many students. Any student who fell into the third category would be part of a program that conducted by the school nurse and the counselors to get to the root causes of why the students were being absent. And then finally, the fourth category of students would be receiving home visits from the school resource officer and potentially administrator to really get at the issue and put a face on the problem. Ultimately, these different strategies working together were backed by research and potentially could lead to higher attendance rates at Grandview High School.